Hello friends, welcome to the current affairs analysis for 20th February 2020. So in a significant move and in a surprise for India, China has joined India and United States to set a new deadline for Pakistan to curb terrorism financing and money laundering. So as we discussed in yesterday's video, the Financial Action Task Force, which is an intergovernmental body based in Paris, it had its session, it has its session going on, and at its that session it had kept Pakistan under the grey list. So this is an organization that keeps a check on terrorism financing and money laundering, and now China has taken sides with India and United States of America to press Pakistan to come with clean hands before the plenary session is held in June. So it is in that session when the performance of Pakistan on 27 indicators will be evaluated, and right now Pakistan is only fulfilling 5 conditions out of those 27 conditions, and China has specifically pressed Pakistan to convict and prosecute top leaders of terrorist organizations. So this is a significant move. So until last year, China used to support Pakistan at all these forums, but now because of growing diplomacy and successful informal summits between India and China, India has been able to convince China that Pakistan is a terror exporting country, and pursuant to those efforts, now China has started taking sides with India and US, and it has started opposing Pakistan on the terrorism front. There is also a news of trade pact between India and US because US President Donald Trump is expected to visit India on 24th and 25th of February, but we will discuss about that in a few minutes. Government has made crop insurance schemes voluntary. So there are two flagship schemes of Government of India which are for crop insurance. One is the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, and another one is restructured weather-based crop insurance scheme. So now the enrollment under these two schemes has been made voluntary for all the farmers. Also, the premium subsidy on these schemes has been increased from the earlier 50-50 formula to now the 90-10 formula for states in the northeast. So earlier the pattern was 50-50, 50% by the center government and 50% by the other entity. But now the government will fund 90% of that premium. So this is a significant move. Also, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, headed by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it has approved a new central sector scheme called the Farmer Producer Organization Scheme. So under this scheme, 10,000 farmer producer organizations will be formed in the 5 years starting from 2019 to 2024. So 10,000 new farmer producer organizations will be set up. This has been done to better manage the agriculture productivity of India and for better procurement. The cabinet has given nod to creation of 22nd Law Commission of India. So what is the Law Commission of India? Law Commission advises the government on legal issues. It conducts research to review and reform the law or to bring new legislations. So Law Commission is that body of the government of India which suggests changes in laws, which suggests new type of laws, which suggests all the legal loopholes that are there in the existing laws, and either through a reference made by the government or suo motu, it researches laws and reviews existing laws in India to reform them, to remove them, or to bring new legislations. So any changes in the existing laws or any new type of laws that are required, they are recommended by the Law Commission of India. So now the 22nd Law Commission will be constituted. The Union Cabinet has given its nod. So it will be formed for a 3-year period. That is the tenure of the Law Commission, and it will have a 1 chairperson, 4 full-time members, a maximum of 5 part-time members, and secretaries of Department of Legal Affairs and Legislative Department as ex officio members. So it will have in total maximum of 12 members. So let us see some of the things about Law Commission of India. Let us discuss it in an MCQ. So choose the incorrect statement. So just like I told you, you have to be very careful about this particular word, whether it is asking for a correct statement or is it asking for an incorrect statement. So it is asking for the incorrect statements here. So let us see. Law Commission of India is a constitutional body established under Article 280 of the Constitution. So this is a wrong statement because Law Commission is not a constitutional body, it is a non-statutory body. Its tenure is 5 years. This again is a wrong statement because its tenure is 3 years. First Law Commission of India was constituted in 1951. So this year may be misleading because in 1950 the Constitution of India came into operation, and if you think that it is a constitutional body, then for sure all the constitutional bodies started functioning in this very year. So this statement again is wrong. So now choose the incorrect statement. Since all the three statements are incorrect, D is the correct answer. Now let's see. So it is a non-statutory body constituted by the government every 3 years, with the first being formed in 1955. So all the three statements have been answered in this last line. It is a non-statutory body. That means it is not formed under any law. It is formed by the government every 3 years. That means its tenure is 3 years. And it is formed, the first one was formed in 1955. So that is a. Also, if you pay attention, it is the 22nd Law Commission. That means if the tenure of a Law Commission is 5 years, that is not possible because since independence, it's been around 70 years since independence. So it is not possible that 22nd Law Commission having 5 years of tenure is constituted. So if its tenure is 3 years, only then around 66 years would have passed. So that is how you can calculate it. Now let us discuss there's some trade issues between India and US. So this is an analysis of Indian trade relations with the United States of America since US President Donald Trump is about to visit India next week. So the major issue according to United States of America is that it has a trade deficit with India, and India enjoys trade surplus with the United States of America, which is not going down well with US President Donald Trump. So the Donald Trump government in 2017 ordered the first ever comprehensive review of trade deficits of US. So the moment he became president, he ordered that a list be made of all the countries with which United States of America has a trade deficit. And among those countries, India was also one of the countries. So in the year 2017-18 itself, the trade deficit of US with India was $21 billion. So American officials started targeting India for its unfair trade practices, like the tariffs that India imposes. So the US government started to think that the tariffs that are imposed by government of India are too high. But the reality is that US is a developed country and India is a developing country. So some leverage has to be given to the developing countries. These are some sticking points between India and USA if they have to finalize a trade deal. The first issue is of the Harley Davidson motorcycles. So India used to impose 100% duty, 100% custom duty on the import of Harley Davidson bikes, but they were reduced to 50%. So even then the United States is opposing it because it is hitting the sale of these bikes in India. However, there is a difference because Harley Davidson bikes are not a very luxurious product in US, but in India it is considered a luxurious product. So this heavy duty on these bikes is justified in India but may not be so in US. The second issue is of steel imports. So in 2018 US imposed additional tariffs of 25% on steel and 10% on aluminium imports from various countries including India. So US imposed 25% duty on steel that is imported from India. So India opposed it in the World Trade Organization, and India held off on imposing retaliatory tariffs under the US struck again by removing it from a scheme of preferential access to American market. Let us discuss what is GSP. GSP is the Generalized System of Preferences, and it provides preferential duty-free access for over $6 billion worth of products exported from India to the US. So under this system, preference was provided to some developing countries so that they can prosper, their economy can prosper. But now India has been taken off from that list, and now India has been categorized as a developed country. So this is a very worrisome development which will be discussed on the US President's visit to India. Another contentious issue is of farm import. So India has always maintained that India will never allow agriculture and dairy products to be imported into India, because our majority of population depends on agriculture and dairy. And if these products are allowed to be imported into India, our domestic sector will hurt very badly. And that is the reason why India also exited from the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. So Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership was signed in December 2019, and it is a grouping of 16 countries, including the 10 countries of Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Apart from these 10 countries, the other 6 countries are India, China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. But now the India has been left out of this treaty because India did not join it. So now RCEP is composed of only 15 countries. So India did not join RCEP because it wanted to protect its domestic industry and its domestic farming and dairy sector. So India's trade surplus with the US has achieved some of successes in the past few months. So while the US is among India's top trading partners, India is its 8th largest trading partner. So what we have done is we have accommodated some of US concerns. So India's trade surplus with the US came down from $21 billion in 2017-18 to $16.9 billion in 2018-19. And the surplus can also be reduced further through imports of products such as aircraft from American firms. So we are already purchasing helicopters from United States of America. It has been given a go-ahead yesterday. And the experts have recommended that in US President's upcoming visit to India, certain low-hanging fruits should be plucked. And those fruits are, if US reinstates India's benefits under the generalized system of preferences, and India does away with the duties on Harley-Davidson motorcycles. So these are small steps, but these can go a very long way to improving normalcy in the US trade, India-US trade relations. Another topic is of medical devices. So India has always maintained that India's population, majority of population is poor, and they require medical devices and pharmaceutical medicines at subsidized prices. But this has always been opposed by United States. So this will also be an issue that will be discussed. So on heart, cardiac stents and on knee implants, for example, on cardiac stents, India provides 85% of cost cut. So this doesn't go down well with US companies, and this will also be discussed during the president's visit. Another important news is Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs has launched a 100-day Sister Cities Challenge. So under this challenge, 20 best performing smart cities will be clubbed with 20 bottom ones in implementing projects under the mission. So 20 top performing cities will be clubbed with 20 bottom cities to improve their implementation. So the Prime Minister's Varanasi constituency, which has been ranked the 14th best, will be paired with Amritsar because both have religious tourist attractions. So Varanasi is a Hindu tourist attraction, Amritsar is a tourist attraction because of Golden Temple. So the criteria that has been adopted for pairing these cities is some kind of affinity or some kind of commonality. For instance, coastal towns will be paired, state capitals will be paired, industrial hubs, hilly terrain, or educational destinations are paired up with each other. So the officials have said that sister cities will have a joint meeting once every 30 days and at least once in a 100-day period. So technical drawings, financial studies, etc., and feasibility reports, etc., will be shared among these two cities. So this effort has been done so that there can be a ripple effect, there can be a domino effect, and those cities which are at the bottom can adopt some good practices from the top performing cities. And the internal rankings of the cities is drawn up every Friday in the ministry based on 80% weightage is given to their performance and 20% of weightage is given to the utilization of funds. So by launching this scheme, it is expected that those 20 bottom cities will start to adopt the best practices that are there in the 20 best smart cities. Thank you everyone. This has been the news analysis for 20th of February 2020.